guys, and welcome back to the channel. So as you can see, once again, we have the yellow GTO behind us here. If you guys are new to the channel, this is a GTO that we picked up as a roller. We got it super cheap. It was pretty much missing everything. It did come with some good parts like Gforce axles and a bunch of other little things, stubs and stuff like that. So we were able to put this car together using the other GTO that we have. We had a 06 right here that was also an LS2 6-speed car. So we were able to steal a lot of stuff from that car to put together this car. As you guys can see, the engine bay is coming together. This thing was missing everything. We had to add the brake booster, the master cylinders, the clutch pedal was even gone. All the interior was gone out of this car, so we put all that back together. It was missing all the ABS stuff, so I went ahead and did an ABS delete using a manifold from PRB Machining, which I will link them in the description below. If you guys have been following along, you will know that we've been building this little LS2 that came out of the red car, and I haven't exactly told you guys what we were going with. I did tell you that we were doing boost. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what we decided to go with. So in a couple videos ago, you guys will notice that we did the CHE trunnion upgrade, which I'll put a little card right up at the top of your screen. We did a Melling oil pump, and as you guys can see, now we've got a nice shiny bracket here. Some of you guys might know what this is for, but for the ones that do not, I will go ahead and show you. So here's the setup, guys. We ended up going with a D1 SC. I think it's going to be a perfect fit for our stock bottom end build right now. This LS2 is stock, pretty much stock bottom end. The only thing we changed was a cam and some 823 heads. The transmission is also stock. It's just got a McLeod RXT 1200 clutch, so we won't have to worry about clutch slip, that's for sure. So like I said, guys, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell so you can keep up to date on all of this stuff. Today's video, we're going to jump right in and start trying to set the engine in the yellow car and start mocking stuff up, start checking out what we're going to have to do for intercooler piping and things of that nature. Maybe set the headers in. I've got a set of mock-up headers that we're going to use, but I am actually waiting on some American Racing 1 7/8 headers. But I think for mock-up purposes, I think what we have should do the trick. So let's go ahead and get this thing rolled out and jump right into it. Alright guys, so I'm not really sure how we lost audio on this clip here, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of walk you through what I was telling you and what I was talking about in this process here. So right here I'm showing you the motor mounts that we chose. We went with the Hinson motor mounts, and I was also just telling you how we got the engine bay prepped for the motor to go in. At this point, I was pretty much just explaining how we were going to set the engine in, and I'm going to go ahead and bring you into the garage and show you what we did to get the engine out there and get it ready to go in. So as you can see, I'm pointing at the blower mounting bracket there. We took that off with the blower off so that we had a little bit more room to work with. We also had a lift plate from Motion Raceworks on there so that we had a little bit more options to be able to move it around to get some more tilt out of it. Here I'm telling you guys how you're going to see here in a minute. We took a ratchet strap and wrapped it around the tail housing of the transmission so that we could run that strap up to the chain that's right behind my hand there and be able to keep the transmission pretty flat while we were moving this engine hoist out to the car, and then we would undo it so that we could get the tilt that we needed to set it into the car with the transmission still on the engine. We're gonna have to move it back home, I think. Nope, stop.
Then we'll set up the rest of the transmission.
Gotta come back to it anyways.
That rack and pin, you might have to come out looking away.
Or we just go back with the engine.
We're hitting the engine now.
Yes, so let's go back.
You ready?
Nope.
Sorry.
I think it actually needs to come forward. Yeah, it does. Forward a little.
Mine's off a half of almost the bolt size right now.
Mine did.
Which with a pry bar, I can get it over, kick it over.
I got mine started at home.
Started? Alright, hold on, let me get a bar. Alright, I'm not looking, so.
Yeah, I'll tell you, just go slow. Hold it right there for a second.
Shake it. You might go.
No, I'm just gonna come down a little, see what happens.
Doing something.
Yep, it's centered itself.
Bolt stick, the hole sticking up.
It's almost out. Hold on, stay right there for a second.
Nope. Nowhere near it. Alright, hold up.
Yep.
Hold up. What'd that do?
It dropped.
There you go. Did that go in?
Yep.
That's what you want then. Right?
Oh yeah, she's down. Alright guys, so as you've seen, we were setting the engine in. We've got it pretty much sitting down on the motor mounts. As far as the front of the engine goes, we've still got a jack under the back. We've got to get the transmission mount lined up. I think we're going to use some blocks and stuff like that. But it's pretty funny how once we get the engine set in here, that blower's starting to look awfully big. The blower and the bracketry and the new intake manifold we got. But I think it's gonna clear. We're not gonna know really until we get everything set down and start bolting stuff up. So let's go ahead and get that transmission blocked up and see if we can't get the mounts for that in. All right guys, so we got the engine set down. The transmission mount is bolted up. Let me see if I can show you guys. Not sure if you guys can see that, but we do have that bolted up. So right now what we're debating is if we want to set the alternator down in here and then set the power steering pump on before we start trying to mock up the blower. But the issue with doing that is that for the alternator, it's gonna block. Let me see if I can show you guys. I don't know if you guys can see. There is a plug right here, and that's what we're going to be using to prime our oil pump, which we haven't done yet. And I mean, we could probably get away with doing it now, but we wanted to kind of wait until we're ready to getting closer to being ready to fire this thing. So we might wait on the alternator and just throw the power steering pump on and then start putting the blower on and see where everything's going to land and then start going from there. So we're going to get some parts out and start setting some things up and see what works out. Fine. All right guys, so we set the alternator on real quick. I think what we're gonna do is we gotta pop this off to get the power steering pump on, because there's a notch that it sits in right here. But it's starting to get late and chilly out, so we're gonna go ahead and drop this thing and roll it into the garage and then continue bolting some more stuff up. So we got the alternator and power steering back on, and then what I had to do was remove this ProCharger bracket here, and then we could tighten this piece of the power steering because it's two pieces. So we had to put that on and tighten it, and then you can get the pump on, and then you can slide this over it and tighten the two bolts for that. So that is our first piece of the ProCharger on. Like I said, I don't know if all this stuff is going to have to come out again, or if we're going to get lucky, get the new headers, be able to just lift this side of the engine up a little bit and slide that one in. This side shouldn't be too bad of a issue or too big of an issue, because when we took it apart, the header came out pretty easy on that side, not so easy on this side. Excuse me, but they are going to be a lot bigger than the ones that were on here. So we'll see what happens when those get here. But I think what we're going to do next is go ahead and start setting on the rest of this plate and see if we can't get the blower mounted up. Alright guys, so I've got the bracket the main bracket and everything bolted up here, just mocked up for now. And I went to set the blower on, and the issue I'm having is that the outlet of the blower is actually clocked wrong. It was hitting on our power steering pump. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is I went around and I broke all these little Allen bolts free. So, but to turn it, you can see there's a bolt here, but there's a lip right there that you have to use these like clamps or brackets, whatever you want to call them, and it sandwiches the lip to hold it tight. Well, you can't put one there anyways because the lip ends before the bolt. But what we're gonna have to do is turn it this way in reality, so that way. And you can't do that with this bracket on here, so I'm gonna have to take all these brackets off, clock it a little bit closer to where we want it, and then see where our brackets are gonna land for its respective position, I guess. So let's go ahead and pop all these out quick, and then we will clock it how we want it, and then figure out where the brackets are gonna land. What you whining for, bud? You don't know? You want to come out? Want to come see what we're doing? You can come out. You can help us put the blower on. Yeah? Tell me about it.
What you doing?
You don't know, do you?
Nope.
Hi. Okay, Fluffball, we're gonna go back to work now. So we officially have the blower mounted. I'm pretty pumped, guys. Super excited. We're making little baby steps here, but it is getting done. Right now, what we're working on is trying to mock up some of the piping and how we're going to have to run everything. On these GTOs, the way the ProCharger kit works is they want you to run it. I don't know if you guys can see down here, but they want you to run with a rubber coupler coming right off the blower down between the frame rail and the alternator right there, and it touches on both sides. So when this motor torques up, I mean, we have Hinson motor mounts in it, so it's a lot stiffer than it was, but when it torques up, it's definitely going to be touching or pushing on that, which I'm not a huge fan of. But like I said, that's why this is called mock-up. We're test fitting a bunch of stuff. I actually got a whole bunch of piping from a guy. He got rid of his ProCharger, was putting it on a different application and stuff. I mainly wanted this pipe, but for $100 he gave me this pipe and every other pipe he had. So that was definitely a huge plus. Some of the pipes look pretty good, like that one. And then, don't judge me, guys, I did not weld this. But then some of the ones in the box look like this murdered poor piece of pipe. Still appreciate the guy for selling me everything for $100, but I mean, this thing is scary looking. I don't know if you guys can see inside it. Not really. You can get a little glimpse of what it looks like there. It's pretty bad. But like I said, guys, we're just going to keep mocking stuff up. The end goal here is I'll probably keep this pipe until we come up with something better. But everything else, we're going to use what we have for mock-up and then hopefully switch over to aluminum, and I can practice my TIG welding and stuff like that, and we can make our own very nice, clean-looking piping from there. So I think what we're going to do next is go ahead and set the radiator in and see how that lines up and see what we're going to have to do to get around that task, or that obstacle. So we do have the ProCharger coolant pipe here, this funky-looking little guy. Luckily, that's in good shape. We got that from the same guy. So that's a huge plus. So we're going to go ahead and set the radiator in and see where everything lands. Alright guys, so as you can see, we got the intercooler sitting on some blocks of wood right now, just getting it in the relative area of where it's going to go. We got the radiator set in, the fans are set in, most of the ProCharger bracketry and the ProCharger itself is set in, the coolant pipe, A bunch of other little things we have set in just for mock-up purposes still, trying to see where we're going to actually run the intercooler piping. We've got the actual intake pipe just chilling on here right now. Like I said, the few pipes out of here that I am going to use, I'm going to clean up and paint and make them look a lot better. But a lot of them we're actually going to be replacing with aluminum and go with more of like a polished type look to match the blower and the bracketry. But I did go ahead and polish it, as you guys can see. When I got this thing, it was actually a satin finish, according to ProCharger. It's like that dull, like, not milled aluminum, but I'll actually, you know what, I'll throw a picture in right here. So that's how it looked before, guys. I personally like this polished look a little bit better. I think it'll look good whether I decide to go with the aluminum piping and have like a full polished look, as well as the intake manifold is more of like a polished look. Or it'll also look good if we decide to just respray these in a nicer black. I think it's gonna look good either way. I think it'll pop equally. But with that being said, guys, I think we're gonna wrap it up here for tonight where we are. I'm gonna go upstairs and clean up. I just wanna say thank you to all you guys for checking out the channel. If you haven't already, please think about subscribing, ringing the bell so you know anytime we post a video with the GTO, the Duramax, or the Hellcat, and we will catch you on the next one.